Welcome to The View from Here from the City of Northport. I'm Nita Edmondson, and we'd like to take this opportunity to thank Comcast Cable for allowing us the opportunity to present this show to the visitors and residents of the fastest growing area in Southwest Florida, and specifically the fastest growing city in Sarasota County. We had hoped that we could present all 5 city commissioners today for some informational pieces for the viewers. However, unfortunately, Tony Guititus, our newly elected commissioner, is sick today and couldn't be with us. So with us later will be Commissioner Roy Hall, Commissioner Hazel Hardman, and Commissioner George Mullen and Joseph Fink. But right now, I'd like to introduce City Manager Paul Kaskey, who's going to explain a little more about the show and upcoming topics for the year. Paul?
Hi. Well, thank you very much, Nita, for inviting us here today. And it's a pretty exciting time for us at our first show, and we're glad that you have volunteered to help host these shows as we go on through the future times with it. One of the goals of the City of Northport's Commission was to direct the staff to create a better communications line with the residents of the City of Northport and also Charlotte and Sarasota County residents to let them know what a great city we do have and all the great things we're doing. So with that, some of the future shows that we're going to have for over the next 12 months are we're going to have youth activities. We look forward to that. We have several different youth activities in Northport with soccer, Little League, Little Miss Softball. We're building 4 more fields here very shortly. So youth activities play a major role down in Northport, as you well know. We're also going to have economic development. That's one of our big things in Northport that's going on right now. We have 2 golf courses being built, and we're striving to bring in other high-class and high energy type of businesses within the City of Northport. So we're working real hard on that. That'll bring us up to by July or August. Well, it's budget time. So we want to inform the people what their money, what their tax dollars is going to be spent on, so they know they're getting true value for their dollar. Then we're going to talk to the civic organizations at the first of the year, because as you know, the civic organizations plan out for a whole year's worth of events, and as they build forward, such as our Poinsettia Parade and different events from the Kiwanis, the Rotary, and so on, the Lions, we'll have all of them speak to that. So the citizens will be able to hear what's coming up for the upcoming year and what their civic organizations are doing. Then we'll have the fall election candidates. You know, we have an election coming up in November, and we'll have 2 open seats. Commissioner Hardman is one of the people up for election, and our newly elected commissioner, Commissioner Guititus' seat is also up. So we'll hear from those 2. Hopefully they'll both rerun. If not, we'll hear from the new candidates that are going to try for those seats.
And we'll be planning on having Commissioner Guititus back later, so we can hear some ideas and hopes he has.
Yes. He's just not feeling well today, so we have to work around that a little bit, and we wish him well, and he should be back very soon. Then we go on in, we talk about after the election, we'll be into the fall of the year, and we'll bring on the city departments and what services and what goals and objectives the commission has laid out there for them to try to achieve. So then the residents will know where the new bike paths are going to be built, where the new roads resurfacing projects are going to be done, where we're going to extend our water and sewer lines for the year, and so on and so forth. We're real excited about that. Also, probably in August, I should back up a little bit, we'll have probably 1st of September, late August, we'll have the dedication of our new multi-purpose building, which we're really excited about. And hopefully it'll be the new home of the Northport Orchestra, and so on, you know, and the Northport Band. But we'll see. In December, we're going to have a lot of the orchestra and hopefully the band. And a lot of people, I don't think, understand Northport has a lot of arts going on down there. You know, with our artist drawings, we have a contest right now for our new buildings. And we have the Northport Orchestra, and we have the Northport Band, and we have a choral group. So we have a lot in the way of arts.
Plus and the kitchen band.
And the kitchen band, yes. Nobody could forget the kitchen band and move forward. Then we're going to bring schools on. As you are aware, and I hope most of the viewers are aware, that we have the Northport Middle High School is coming up very, very shortly, and we're very proud of that and proud of the effort and the partnerships that we've been able to work directly with the Sarasota County School Board, and we'll have them on to speak directly to Northport issues in January. We hope to have them on, and that's very exciting for us for that new school. We can hardly wait for that, but we have to wait a little bit. They still have to build it, so it'll be, we hope for year 2000. Then we're going to have in February, we hope to have the Northport Area Chamber of Commerce on, and different groups. We have a new business group called Bloat in town. We hope to have them on and speak to their issues with the commerce of the city and the chamber and what they do and be involved in the city. And then last we'll have some of our religious segments, the churches on, and to let the people know. So I think the next 12 months that we have laid out for the program are very exciting. We're very happy to be here, and we're very happy to bring this to the residents of Northport and to Sarasota and Charlotte County.
Great. Thanks a lot, Paul.
Thank you.
And now we'll take a break.
Have you seen Northport lately? Take a minute and take a look.
We really do enjoy nature, and we found it all here, right in our own backyard. Love fishing and boating on the Mayaca. You never know what you might see out there. We toured the whole state of Florida and found that Northport had everything that we wanted.
There's a lot of natural beauty, and there's a lot of wildlife here. And I love the open spaces, and I love the quiet.
If you're intrigued by what you just saw, pay us a visit, and you'll see a lot more.
Hi, and now we're back with Northport's A View from Here. And with us now is City Commission Chairman Roy Hall.
Yep.
And Roy, I'm glad you're here with us.
Pleasure.
And I just wanted to say hi to Shirley, your lovely wife. I hope she's watching.
She is.
And also we have Commissioner Hazel Hardman with us. And Hazel, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
First, Roy, as the chairman, I'd like to ask you about the city's goal planning retreat that you all recently held. And can you tell us a little about it and why that was important for the city and for you?
Well, I think it was very important because we spent 3 days locked up, you might say, away from the city hall. But it gave the city commissioners an opportunity to interwork with staff. We set various goals for staff over the next year, and then we hammered out how we're going to accomplish these goals. How you're going to pay for them, how you're going to implement them, who's going to do what. And so I think it was a very productive 3 days on our goal setting.
And what were some of the things that came out of that goal setting that appealed to you?
Well, one of them, for instance, was the rapid response team that we have organized. When the city gets an inquiry from a developer, maybe he would like to put in a planned community development, and he contacts the city about the availability of land and so forth. We have a team that can we put together that will give him the answers he needs, like right now. They put him on the fast track, so to speak.
That's very important because we don't want to lose that interest.
Most definitely. So they put him on a fast track, and they'll walk him through everything he needs to know. The other thing we had was the extension of water and sewer lines. This is a very, very dear project to me. I've been working on this for years. The older parts of our city, I think, need to have water and sewer lines extended to them. We extend them out to the developers, but I think we've overlooked the inner city, so to speak. We need to get rid of the septic tanks and so forth that's in there. So we're going to have a very extensive program to do this. We also have a very aggressive program of purchasing lots along the Mayakahatchee Creek, which is our main source of our water supply. We have purchased the first tier of lots through grants from the state and from the federal government and from the 1-cent sales tax. By doing this, we protect our water supply. We'll have no septic tanks in there, and the pollution, chance of pollution is diminished quite a bit.
Thank you. Commissioner Hardman, along the same lines with economic development, you have some interest in that. Could you tell us what your interests are?
I have interest in economic development. When I first moved to Northport, I realized that Northport definitely needed economic development. Without that, they would have to raise taxes. Therefore, it offsets the tax base so the citizens can continue living in that wonderful atmosphere that they live in without having a raise in tax, but to have the economic development. Also, I've witnessed for the last 4 years, whereas there was an average age of 61, and over perhaps the last 5-year period, the average age has come down with the young families moving there to about 43. And now we really do have a demand for jobs for young people to work at, as well as industrial development to add to the city. Therefore, there's also many retired people moving there now, like 50s and early 60s, which are looking for a second job. In other words, they take early retirement, then they want to continue to work, and they change perhaps their whole job basis. They may be in law enforcement. Now one person works in the hotels, and one is a security guard, and various other jobs. So it's most important, and we have many leads coming in from people all over the world to follow up on.
Sorry, speaking of hotels, the Gateway Project around
the Gateway Project's going to be fantastic. It's under construction now, and that's Sumter Boulevard. It'll be beautiful. It won't be 2 roads with a drain ditch on the side. It's going to be small fountains and small lakes, beautiful landscape. We'll have walkways and bike trails along there. And if you want to stop and have a picnic along the side, it'll be a beautiful entrance to the city.
That's great.
So,
speaking of entrances to the city, Commissioner Hall, you had some interest in the revitalization of Highway 41?
Yes, we don't want to ignore US 41, which is the main route going through Northport. And we have a lot of businesses there, and we don't want to see them deteriorate. So we've presented a plan to the Metropolitan Planning Organization to revitalize 41, put in curbs, gutters, drainage. At the present time, US 41 through Northport is considered a rural road. Well, we want to get rid of the rural designation and make it urban. And this will give us the possibility of putting in trees and landscaping in the middle of the median, which we're prohibited by the rural designation. So we've made a presentation to the MPO on that. They have received it very well. DOT has come down and looked at the situation, and they seem to think that we can be high on their priority list, and that priority list will come out about June.
That's great. You might want to explain to the viewers what an MPO is.
The MPO is the Metropolitan Planning Organization. It is made up of elected officials from the Manatee and Sarasota County, and they take care of most all the transportation needs for the 2 counties.
Great, thank you. Now, along 41, we have a lot of trees now, and it's starting to look very nice, but Commissioner Hardman, you have some interest in Northport being designated a tree city for the last 3 years.
for the last 3 years, we have been Tree City, and we've planted lots of trees, and it's certainly a change on 41, planting the beautiful trees. Some of them bloom, which are crepe myrtles. And it's added much interest and beauty to the city. However, with the revitalization, it'll be even more beautiful. And the city's certainly moving forward in all directions. And the fact, thanks to a large part of the extension of the 1-cent sales tax, we'll now have our school by the year of 2000. That adds to the city also, to economic development and the total city picture.
Great. Would you like to talk about your proposal for the citizens?
I do have a suggestion, which I have lived in a town in California that was known as Tree City. Therefore, I've suggested that each new family moving to the city give them a gift as a tree to plant in their yard, which would definitely improve the trees picture in the city of Northport. And also, it's a good PR for the person moving there. Makes them feel like living in that beautiful country atmosphere with city convenience.
That's right, and Northport is known for that. Chairman Hall, is there anything else you would like to talk about?
Well, just like to mention the new developments that we have coming on. The Bobcat Trail and Marsh Creek and Charlton Place, these are all known as planned community developments. And I think this is very important because it puts no burden on the residents of Northport for these developments. These people put in their own sewer lines, their own water lines, their own roads, and they maintain those in the future. So this is done through an assessment to the people who buy in this project. So I am a firm believer in new growth should pay for itself. And with planned community developments, this will happen, and there'll be no burden on the residents of Northport.
That's great. That's great. That's what the residents want to hear.
This is true.
And also, you probably want to encourage residents to attend City Commission meetings.
Most assuredly. We have probably 25 or 30 come there pretty regular, but there's a lot of stuff going on in Northport. It affects a lot of citizens, and we'd be more than happy to see 100 people show up every week.
That's great. That's great. And we're looking forward to a new city hall.
It's on the drawing board, but it's probably 5 or 6 years down the road.
I know Commissioner Mullen wants to talk about that later. That's
Right.
his project. So we're all looking forward to that.
Also, we're a very conservative commission, and we don't believe in spending a lot of money we don't have to spend. So we build and make progress as we can afford to, which is a good basic way to run a city. And with the school and economic development and all the development coming in there, it's certainly moving the city forward. And we want to invite all the new people moving in the last 5 years to come to City Hall, introduce themselves, perhaps go on one of our volunteer boards. It tells you a great deal about the city and how the city operates.
That's great. That's always good to hear. Commissioner Hardman, you also talked about the school opening and the planning about the 1-cent sales tax, the extension, and why is that important to economic development?
Well, it's very important because that brings business there. They do not want to move to cities that don't have a school for their children. And of course, it's been a tremendous hardship on the young families that do live there, busing their children 12 or 15 miles to school every day and getting up in the nighttime and in the dark for the school buses. But economic development definitely needs schools wherever they're moving.
And especially
and
with
the
the
interest
change.
we have, I think there will be a tremendous growth factor coming sooner than people realize.
Great. Thank you. And thanks. And we'll go to break now. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a rumor that small-town America has all but disappeared.
Life is great, Northport.
Northport is the last Mohican. This is the place. This is going to be the last undeveloped region. The city government itself is so pro-growth, and it's just like everything is in the right place at the right time for Northport. They're very open-minded, they're very honest, and they're very fair.
Disappeared? You've just seen evidence to the contrary. We call it Northport.
You can make a difference with the job that really matters. Oh, the future starts here. It's waiting right here. It's waiting for you. Hold your head up with pride. Let the world open wide.
The United States Coast Guard. Jobs that matter.
Jobs that matter.
Hi, welcome back to Northport's A View from Here. And with us now we have Commissioner George Mullen, who's been here for 13 years, right?
Yes.
And married to Jean. And we're glad you could be with us today.
Good being here.
And we also have with us Commissioner Joe Fink, and who's married to Sherry, recently married. I guess you're out of the newly married.
Coming up on a year, May 17th.
Very good. Well, congratulations, and I'm happy for you. Let's start with Commissioner Mullen. And the citizens of Northport have heard for a long time about the multi-purpose building we can expect soon. And I know everyone's excited about it, and you especially, because you've been working on it since 1989.
Correct.
So if you could tell us a little about it.
Yes, I'm a little bit like a kid that, before Christmas, waiting for the opening day, and it looks like now that we had planned originally, thought that the building would be finished for a grand opening along to celebrate the birth of our country on the 4th of July, but I think some of our weather problems have backed us up a little, and we may have to move it back to more the Labor Day date. But it's something that we started, as you said, back in 1989. I was on an ad hoc committee with the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, and it was something that the ad hoc committee felt that Northport lacked, was some type of facility that would house the various types of activities, not only athletic activities, but social and cultural activities. And at that time, we had looked at a number of buildings and kind of got put on the back shelf. And then when Commissioner Hall and myself were elected to the commission in 1993, that was one of our top priorities, that we start with the multi-purpose building again. And this building, as we said, will not only house the basketball, the volleyball, indoor tennis. It also has 2 large rooms that can be subdivided into 2 smaller rooms for meetings, jazzercise, exercise, ceramic classes. It also has a small warming kitchen so that groups can come in and have dinners there. We look for, and hopefully this next year, that when the Chamber of Commerce has their business expo, that they will be hosted there at the building. And we look for things such as maybe auto shows. We have big opening doors that makes it very easy to facilitate unloading exhibits into that building. Also, there's a PAL office in the building, and I know the Chief of Police, David Yurchek, is kind of looking forward to being able to put an officer in there and help out with programs through PAL.
That's great. That's exciting. Is there going to be a stage?
Yes, we have a stage in there, and I think the city manager had alluded to it earlier in talking that we hope that the orchestra will be able to play in there. The building will be acoustically enhanced, so that it's not going to be a concert hall, but it'll be acoustically enhanced enough to make it acceptable. Also, the chorale can do performances there. We think that we could probably seat somewhere 7,500 to 1,000 in there, depending on the types of seating we use.
That's real exciting. Tough act to follow. Joe, I know you've been a longtime resident of Northport and a good friend of mine, and I just wanted to ask you about the changes that you have seen in the commission in the time that you've followed city government.
Well, I'm very pleased with the way that city government is going in Northport, Nita. It's interesting to me, as a resident since 1968, to see how smooth and together we as a commission act. We don't agree all the time necessarily, and naturally that's the case, but I know, and I think all the other commissioners know, that we all vote in the best interest as we see it in the city of Northport, and I think that's a good and honorable way to be. I see the community coming together in so many ways. I look at the new school coming, and I see how originally the school board had said we would have a school in the year 2011, 2012, and that would be as soon as we could have it. And now we see we're going to have us a school in the year 2000, 2001. And that's because we came together as a community, and we have it. And as a commission, we were uniform. We wanted that school. We needed that school. We're going to have that school. I see the business people on US 41 dealing with the refacing and the revitalization of the downtown area through BLOAT, which is business and land owners along Tamiami Trail. I believe that's the initials, and I see what they're going to do for the city, and I see how they want to work in partnership with us to make Northport better and better than it is right now, and it's a wonderful place.
Well, you know, the citizens take their lead from you, the commissioners, because you should receive a lot of credit for what you've done, and being positive out in the community and not criticizing each other in public, I think has made a great difference, and I commend you all. You've done very well turning all that around. Also, Joe, you had some ideas about, as in any city in Southwest Florida, every city experiences some flooding problems, and you had some ways of dealing with those problems for the residents of Northport.
Well, thank God we haven't had any damage in any residences throughout this El Nino situation that everyone seems to be having problems with. But we do, in certain areas, have problems with water standing in ditches and swales. What I'd like to see is possibly a district program. People in our estates areas don't have the same problems that people in the Jockey Club or people in Highland Ridge have. And the problems are a problem for those particular areas. Perhaps by localizing a problem, we're 75 or 76 square miles of country, which is an awful big area to say that every solution fits everything. Rather than looking at it as one size fits all, perhaps we should look at it as a district problem. If people have a problem in their neighborhoods and they want to solve it, maybe the city could find a solution, realizing that taxing would have to be increased for that particular area for a short period of time to solve the problem, and that the people get together as a taxing district or as a district to solve that problem, and look at it from that point of view rather than an overall city project. Districts solving district problems.
That certainly seems fair. And speaking of water, you also have another pet project, Commissioner Mullen,
Yes.
the Myakkahatchee Creek Linear Park.
Yes.
Could you tell us about that?
Yeah.
It's beautiful there.
There again, that started back in with the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board in, again, 1989. And the first piece of property that we purchased was about 34 acres, a little over 34 acres, and that's what is now is our Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park. And one of the things that the city felt that we needed to do was to protect our potable water supply, which the Myakkahatchee Creek is one of our major sources of water. The other was that we could extend a greenway or a beltway down along the creek that could be used for recreational purposes. And then, of course, the third thing was that in that area, a lot of it is in the floodplain. And we have gone on an aggressive program of trying to purchase at least 2 tiers deep or 2 lots deep along each side of the creek to facilitate this. And it also will keep houses going in there where we would have septic tanks, and that would be a possible pollution. So it's really a kind of a 3-phased thing. Currently we have about 21 lots that we need to acquire within the first tier to complete that, and we have been in negotiations with some of the owners on that. The other thing that we're looking at then is, trying to get into the second tier, and wherever possible, if it's in the floodplain, we have even accepted one recently on the third tier in. We will have, when we get this, about 6.5 to 7 miles from our northern city border down to US 41. That will be a corridor that we will have control over on both sides. That we feel it as the plans, and we get into a master plan on this, that there will be walkways and bridges and things that the people can go out there and enjoy not only recreation and picnicking and those types of things, but also there's one section down near what we call the Oaks, which we had purchased through a Preservation 2000 project that has wild orchids, and so there's just all kind of
that's exciting.
Ecological things that people can see. And
that's really
just,
exciting.
It's just one of those things that sometimes makes you, get the hair stand up on the back of your neck when you start thinking about all these wonderful things that we're trying to save, not only for the people who live here now, but for our future generations.
I'm sorry to cut you off. We wish we had more time, and it's time to close. And I just want to say thanks for being with us, and we'll see you again next time on The View from Here.